Retro Racing Reports from Manzanita Speedway, October 18th and 19th of 1985. This is the CRA USAC Challenge. We have an explanation that comes up in our story. We have a lot of great images, photos in here, and there's a great championship story that shows up, and we'll cover all of that. Full data in here. This is a terrific program. Here we go. Be sure to subscribe and like and share this video with all your sprint car buddies. Here we go. West Coast Wanderings by Don Gilchrist. The World Series of Sprint Car Racing, the CRA USAC National Sprint Car Series, resumes in October as part of the Western World at Manzanita Speedway in Phoenix, Arizona, and Pacific Coast Open at Ascot Park in Gardena, California. This series got its start, the brainchild of CRA's Gary Sokola and USAC's Roger McCluskey, just 1 year ago at the same two tracks, with Lealand McSpadden of Tempe, Arizona, copying the 30-lapper at Manzi, and Rip Williams of Garden Grove, the winner of the 30-lap event at Ascot. From that start, the series picked up again in March of this season with two races at Manzanita Speedway. Ricky Hood of Memphis, Tennessee, and McSpadden with his second were the winners. And the opening sprint car race of the season at Ascot was won by Eddie Wirth of Hermosa Beach. In May, the CRA cars traveled to the Midwest and Southwest, their first ever road trip, running 7 races in 10 days in 5 states. 6 of these races were CRA USAC Series affairs. Lincoln Park in Putnamville, Indiana was the first stop, with Sheldon Kinzer winning that one. The next day, it was the famed Tony Holman Classic at the Action Track in Terre Haute, Indiana. Ron Schumann emerged the winner of that one. From there, it was on south to 81 Speedway in Wichita, Kansas, as Bubby Jones of Glen Avon won that one. Further south yet to Devil's Bowl Speedway in Mesquite, Texas, and Ricky Hood won for the second time. Then into Oklahoma, where Mike Sweeney of San Pedro won at Lawton Speedway in Lawton, Oklahoma, and the finale at the fairgrounds in Oklahoma City, where point leader Hood won his third main event in the 30-lapper. So here we are for the top final 1985 races in the series. In addition to being national series points, all races in the series are separate point races in both CRA and USAC. Going into the final 2 races of the 11-race 1985 series, USAC's Ricky Hood enjoys a 38-point lead over CRA's Mike Sweeney, with CRA's Brad Knopfsinger third. Well, that's the story. It didn't make a whole lot of sense to me either. Apparently, CRA and USAC were trying to combine a little bit and make the competition more interesting. For our 2-day event at Manzanita, which this program covers, again, it was October 18th and 19th of 1985, there were 39 cars through the back gate. Attendance came in at 4,873. There's a note in here that says attendance, including the pits, was just over 7,000. That's a lot of people. But Manzanita was a big track. All the data that we see in here, handwritten notes and such, all come from Tim Kennedy, which seems to be a common thread with our retro racing reports. So it goes. So now we're going to speak for a minute about Eddie Wirth. Eddie Wirth wound up winning the championship for CRA in 1985. And winning a championship is not a simple matter of just win race after race after race. Well, that would be much too easy, and it certainly isn't going to happen with the kind of competition that they faced back in those days. You really have to have a fair amount of luck any given night, any given weekend. And that's what Eddie Wirth managed to have on this night of October 19th at Manzanita. So Eddie Wirth in the 77 car ran 20.346 in qualifying, which was reasonably fast. But quick time was Dean Thompson, who had secured his 103rd fast qualifying time of his illustrious career. Wirth was not fast enough to be in the trophy dash, but he got into the heat race, and right at the beginning, the left rear had sparks. On lap 3, it says here in the notes. Sparks coming out of the left rear, so his car broke. Now, the way the CRA worked, you had to finish in the top 4 positions to transfer to the main event. Well, Eddie Wirth broke his car, so he finished 10th, last in his heat race. Happened to be the first heat race, so he had a little bit of time. He scrambled about and managed to get into the consolation event. With his qualifying time, of course, he was the fastest guy in the consolation event. So he ran the consi and finished first. Mind you, he was in the first heat race when he broke. Had he been in the fourth heat race, he may not have had time to repair his car. So he had that little stroke of luck come his way. Well, now if you finish in the top 2 positions in the consi, you will transfer to the B main, which is the semi. And you get added to the back of the race. Eddie Wirth started in the back and managed to finish 4th in the semi. Of course, the top 4 from the semi transferred to the main event. Well, now in the notes here, it shows that he had passed up to position 9 in lap 1. He was in 7 after lap 3, and he managed to get all the way up to position 4 just before the end of the race. He only had 12 laps to do it. He managed to do it, and he got transferred to the main event, where he finished 2nd overall to Bobby East. Now, it was quite a run for Eddie Wirth, and it was just an example of what it takes to win a championship at any level, really, but in this case, it happened to be the 1985 championship. That was one night for Eddie Wirth where he really had to scramble, and he managed to make it through each of the steps. And hats off to CRA for having that transfer option available. Years prior, you couldn't transfer. You'd show up and you'd run the consi and then you'd go home. Well, they added that incentive. If you do well enough here, you can step up to the next one, to help get you better. Well, Eddie Wirth was good enough to be champion of CRA 1985. So there we are. CRA versus USAC Challenge out of Manzanita Speedway, 1985. Be sure to subscribe and like and comment down below.